Research Professor in Department of ECE, LNMIT Jaipur. The title of the talk, which Professor Gangopadhyay would be delivering here, is Knowledge, Preparation, and Tasks to Meet the Challenges of MBA Accreditations. Professor Gangopadhyay, you're welcome to start your talk for this FDP. Thank you very much.
इधर में दे दो. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Very good morning to all of you, both inside the room and outside participants. It is a privilege, but it is a penalty as well. Professor Kusumlata just talked to me, and along with Sandeep Saini, just day before yesterday, you have to give a talk, inaugural talk. Impossible, because a parallel session going on Acharya Jagadish Chandra Bose, and naturally I am occupied there. But still I feel that when the request naturally will come from my own colleague, it's very hard to defy her. So I accepted. But penalty in the sense that I am not an expert in accreditation. But it's true that when I was in IIT Kharagpur, I did accreditate, NBA accreditation, almost 30, 40 colleges. I had a very good experience those days, beautiful days. But here, for example, now, the rules that were set for accreditation is too complex, too demanding, too stringent. Sometimes we feel, is it necessary to do that? At one time, I told Professor Sahasrabudhe that I think we have to minimize. There is no point. Itna zor ka darkar kya hai? If you are really good doctor, they will never advise you have 100 medical reports and then show to me. They will simply see your eyes, your skin, your face, and automatically identify this is, for example, in the rainy season, automatically the doctor knows what is the problem that you were affected with. So without having this kind of things, this is the current modern technique of generation. You exploit people in whatever best possible way. You are exploiting the teachers, I must say. You are exploiting the teachers. If, for example, I have 30 colleagues, none is very satisfied to be involved in accreditation work. Why? Because the complexity. When you naturally go to a very five-star restaurant and you are thrown into a buffet system, you get totally disgruntled from the sense that you yourself cannot decide what to take and what not to take. But sit down, beautifully get the menu, and then decide a la carte, this 3 or 4. You enjoy, come back home, you remember what you ate and what is the test. So there is an important part which is brevity, conciseness, to the point kind of a system. Now this is just a simple personal feeling, nothing to do with or belittle the effort. What I mean, today at this point of time, being at the age group of 80 plus, it is also true that whatever things are necessary for accreditation, through accreditation, I am not expert, neither I know each and everything clearly. But more and more I understand the rigorousness is very important and a fundamental attribute to learning process. We are not doing the job. If I admit the fact, then I say we are not doing our job as a teacher in full-fledged form. So this is the exact context where I must support, admire the road played by Professor Kusumlata, Sandeep Saini, together with her very immediate effort of conducting this with the assistance and advisory role of Professor Sahula. And it is a wonderful thing that we naturally have the privilege and advantage of this connectivity and friendliness with our neighboring institute, MNIT, who can come forward to help us. So the important point I must say and must emphasize the fact this is a real challenge. We should not take it very lightly. It is a very, very unfortunate part as a member of LNMIT when I already passed 16 years and I could not see any time earlier except the past HOD of EC, anything has been done at the institute level, even within the span of 16 years, not to make a serious effort for NBA accreditation. If I question, I don't need answers. But the important point is re-justifies our individual role to play to make our program accredited and let us enjoy the pride. And to achieve that pride, we have to naturally do very strongly, passionately, boldly, all that is necessary. Advantage part of it, MNIT is a sister institution, and we have our own friends who naturally are always available to naturally strengthen us to undertake the job and naturally reach the success. So the point what I feel when you call, I was in the market and I had to decide what will be the talk. Suddenly I decided that it should be like this: knowledge, preparation, and tasks to meet the challenge of NBA accreditation. These are fundamental step points. So basically the point is knowledge, as we know, knowledge is power. What's the kind of knowledge that I will explain? Suppose I do assist my head of the department on only one criterion and I forget other things. That is not essentially the requirement of an individual faculty member if he has to contribute significantly and positively to NBA accreditation. So the important point, I will elaborate what knowledge means and other things. So basically what I mean to say is this, that before we start to engage ourselves with the mounting task of NBA accreditation, we need to be very clear on the following issues and pertinent facts. What are those? What does accreditation mean? What's the purpose of NBA accreditation? Knowledge and quality assurance, preparation of NBA accreditation, program level criteria, which is called SAR. What is SAR? Self-assessment report. And then individual faculty responsibility, combined team effort, scope of further tendering, teaching, learning, and what will be our pledge. So that is how I thought with a little bit of time what is available with all merciless advocacies from my better half. I have to give time to family. So what is important from this point of view? What does accreditation mean? Accreditation is a process that evaluates educational institutes and programs to ensure they meet academic standards. So this is very important point of view, that we naturally cannot go in our self-style fashion. We naturally have to adopt certain rules, mandates from our national accreditation agency, which is the NBA National Board of Accreditation, Government of India. We have to follow that. So the purpose of the accreditation is to improve quality education, to promote accountability and provide best practices that enable producing high quality professionals. This is very important. So the NBA process is a enables the institutions to identify and overcome. This is very fundamental, to identify and overcome the teaching learning process. I select a book, and necessarily sometimes you choose a book na. It is earlier days wo railway station mein milta hai, I do not know. And sometimes I also know that people in certain colleges, they adopt those books, Wheeler, something, publications, and you do that. So you see, the point is you naturally have to free yourself from your comfort zone. I repeatedly say, with due honor, with due respect to my fellow colleagues here or other places, that please, this is a very important profession, not only noble profession, but today's world a very demanding profession. The reason is that many times when you teach, the students already, they get the information from the internet. So when you teach, 80% they know. In many instances I'm talking about. So it is a real challenge how to face the current generation students with their sufficient matured background, and you have to face it. If you simply naturally speak out, for example, from your PPT slides, without appropriately involving them to understand what you are telling, it's no success. So the important point is we naturally have to evaluate ourselves first. Do we know the subject fully? How much fully, that's not your choice. That you naturally have to always compare the best of material which naturally we can find in open source internet, the best tutorials, best things from an expert teacher. And then if you go seriously that, you understand where the defect lies, where is your depth of knowledge, that you have to make up. Initial level, before you start, at least you have to equip yourself from the state of the art of the system. So my viewpoint is, openly I am telling, but there is still today for me also, every time, for example, now I think that in my curriculum, in my course, I have decided I do not know anything. For example, edge computing. I do not know anything. For example, the CRAN or ORAN, Cloud RAN, or Open RAN. I do not know. But this is already there in syllabus. How do you go about it? How about now, one way of doing this, you give the syllabus, you give the materials, ask the students you study. And to safeguard yourself, you make very simple questions. Give them marks. Your job is done. Is it the way that I should do it? Soumitra here is not, I do not know. Soumitra is here. So we normally decide what to do. So I just give a typical problem I am facing at this stage to teach a subject which is 5G wireless technology. How do you go about it? I have written the syllabus CIF myself, spending almost 2 months looking across the institutes in India, looking across the institutes abroad, and whatever private level, public level courses are offered, IIT, data has certification, all these things, and then I put it. Important part, you may not agree with Ranjan, but the name we have given, one MTech program, which is Advanced Wireless Communication Network Engineering. It is not that is my fascination term. No, we cannot do anything being a student or a teacher at ECE if we do not learn what is edge computing today's world, what is cloud functioning or that kind of protocols involved over there, what is software defined networking. We do not know. We are nowhere in the current scenario. That's exactly we must feel. It's not like make your life simple. अच्छा से घुमाओ, अच्छा से अच्छा 5-star restaurant में जाओ, ठीक है. These are things. Normally it will go for your entire lifespan. But the profession where you belong to, the institute's reputation outside, everything is hinged on individual capability and the collective responsibility. So what I mean, look, I am not going because the 40 hours is already allocated to give a very systematic flow and training of the entire things needed for accreditation. ठीक है ना? But what I am telling, although Kusumada now agree, give, and somebody, Anirudh say, give an extempore talk, but what is my feeling? I know myself what is my dearth as far as a teacher's potentiality, capability, commitment are concerned. I myself lack it. And that's from that angle I am telling what is to be done by individual faculty. It's a big challenge, no doubt. We have to take all necessary steps to standardize our entire effort of teaching, learning, naturally reducing the gap and maximizing the benefit to the students who come with great expectations, and we must be able to meet those expectations. ये बात है, ठीक है. So basically, sometimes you see, so basically what I mean to say, when I say knowledge, it is very important. What does knowledge mean? From my point of view, whatever you see for learning objectives के लिए, you have to naturally classify your learning goals as per Bloom's taxonomy. But the most important part is the knowledge. When you have knowledge of anything, so what do? You have to apprehend, you have to conceptualize, you have to understand, then you have to apply, and while applying, you have to do certain analysis, synthesis, and then evaluation. For example, even if I had to, for example, book a hotel in Azerbaijan, first of all, I have to get that knowledge. So go to the internet, or some tourist, they might provide this, get the entire kind of a thing. You analyze, synthesize means you get the opinion who already visited Azerbaijan, get these things. So you are synthesizing, analyzing your own things. Then you apply, check out which road you will choose. Your hotel, Nizam Street is the best. So this is basically the fallout of your analysis, decision, evaluations, everything. But that is as far as here that Bloom's taxonomy is only you have to classify in these kind of different steps while naturally giving the students the benefit of your learning models to be applicable to them. But to me, knowledge is power, and you have to be powerful. Kishore needs to be quite powerful really to succeed in the accreditation process. So basically what I feel, and that will be very fundamental for every one of us, that while the accreditation visit comes, and if a member comes, Ranjan, what are the research things in your department? I said, oh, to NGCN hai, oh, in janta hai. I do not know what Kusum is doing or what the bug is doing. I may not be knowing about this. This is not tolerable. The most important part is when you belong to the department, you must know what each and everyone is doing. This is knowledge. You must know what is the emphasis, what is the plan of activities down the line for the next 5 years. What Professor Rahul is planning. This is very important. I objected to him the last open house when something has been done in a very random and awkward fashion. I told Professor Rahul, earlier open a house. You used to give lectures. We used to enjoy. Why this has happened this time? And this is not, because you have to tell a lot of things, lot of story. You are building an international center, lot of activities in your mind. Why not you share with every one of us? So the most important point what I say, that it is, when I say knowledge is a power, you naturally have to allow each and every individual in the department to be powerful by the depthness of the vigor of the knowledge base, which means you have to know individually, each of your colleague, what is the research going on, what are the major focus of the department, what is the major focus in this, because anytime, for example, the evaluator will come, he can get any person. Normally, when I did accreditation 30, 40 years ago, it's a wonderful kind of thing, lot of feedback we get from the students. So basically, this is very fundamental, the part of accreditation. You have to give good training to your laboratory staff, good training to all your faculty, a good training regarding this knowledge base which everyone must possess, because that time and any time that the accreditation visit takes place, we naturally show ourselves. We are bold to face you. We are righteous to give you transparently whatever information you want, and that we should be ready. So this is a readiness time. What we say tasks, one of the tasks also is very important. So what I said is that further knowledge about other relevant information is also very important, about department, about institute, about colleagues and their expertise, research projects, industry collaboration. Each faculty, every faculty must be fully aware about what is happening within the department, within the institute. I am sure that if from today itself we have our mindset that we naturally should be knowledgeable about what is happening, that is very fundamental as fulfilling one of the important needs of the accreditation process. So this part is only for the completeness, that quality assurance, there is something, it is very important in the entire accreditation process, what we normally call academic and administrative audit. I do not know, NAC mein to hai, NBA mein hai, I do not know. But whether it is there or not, but it is very important that we must prepare ourselves, that we audited ourselves before throwing your department for the accreditation to outside evaluators. Is most important. That's one normally what we do, the mock kind of a thing. So basically, it's very important. Therefore, each and every item which has been 7-point agenda, curriculum aspects, I come to that. Teaching, learning, and evaluation. It is much important. Teaching and learning, teaching methodology and the learning experiences. You have to see they match each other. Is there any gap? The gap filling is very important. Then research, consultants, and extension, infrastructure and learning resources. It includes library, other facilities, labs, etc., everything. Student support and progression. What do you mean by progression? We must identify what is the true meaning of progression. This is where naturally we can get our free and frank discussions with the experts. How do we naturally enlighten everyone regarding this? What kind of support? There are manifold supports, but there is a certain fundamental support system must be available to the students. Can we list it down? I think someone in the team must be able to list it down. So we are available, and then why it is important, and then I find, अरे हम तो ये practice नहीं करता है. These are already written down. I will try to do that. ठीक है, हम तो ये जो आप लिखा है ना, student support, I really do not know. Support क्या मिलता है? Progression तो ठीक है, हम एग्जाम करता है, ये करता है. So basically, innovation and best practices. So these are the certain points which are earmarked, 7-point agenda, But can anyone in department or a group of the department identify what are those best practices? Identify. So I naturally know, learn, participate. If I lack, I will try to follow it up. But these should be standard things which are very important, fundamentally important thing for good accreditation. What are the innovation techniques we're thinking of? Mention 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let it be a small list, but let us mention. So the team which is coordinating the entire accreditation process, they have to evolve out some good answers which can be followed up by each and every individual. This is another way, for example, we naturally link ourselves. What I mean to say is this: it is not very simple. It's not very simple how really to motivate, how really to augment the spirit of participation and क्या बोलेगा, passion. It's too difficult, but it is possible. I do not think that if we consider, let us say, for our department or for others department, the young faculty members which have been recently recruited or a year back, by no means you can discard them. And the only important point, even if there is limitation, it is our responsibility. We have already accepted to our fold. ठीक है ना? I will not say much. Today's world and today's generation, it's very tough job on the part of the parents to nearly manage their words when they naturally reach the stage of class 10. It's very difficult. They have their own identity, own personality being developing, and they have the peer pressures, means other friends in the school, they play more vital role than the parents. In that circumstances, as I am hearing stories both in India and abroad, it's a gigantic, horrendous task on the part of the parents to keep. If we are very lucky, everything goes smooth. If we're not lucky, but things happen like that, but you have to innovate how to tackle them. The most important part is you naturally have to show first level your interest in their upbringing, into their liking, and somehow or other, you naturally have to take them by good words, by love, by giving them more pizza, more burger. Some way you have to find it out. But it is important. What I mean is, therefore, headship is not signing. ये बात नहीं है. Head can be looked as a real mother or father of the department. That is the role that he or she has to take care. ठीक है ना? No strong words, no intimidation, but pure love. If you have to naturally win the heart of anyone, the only single human force is love and sympathy or empathy, whatever it is. That is something, if you do not have, you naturally need to possess that. And with that kind of extraordinary power, you naturally have to influence. So the most first point is we need high level of cooperation. Second is we need lot of persuasion with a friendly spirit, not with a brigadier attitude. ठीक है ना? That is good in military regime, not here. I still remember in IIT Kharagpur, there was a very strong association, and someone from the association said something to Rishi Modi, then chairman of TISCO. And then when he deliberately said about that this is not TISCO, this is IIT Kharagpur, and openly he said, your language should be a little different. तो ऐसे कुछ बोल दिया. And next, what happened? उसको सोकस notice दे दिया. Because Rishi Modi was the chairperson of our governing body, IIT Kharagpur. ठीक है ना? And then that problem continues for 1.5 years, and then ultimately under the pressure of the very strong union, IIT Kharagpur, these are all IITs, man, IIT Kharagpur Teachers Association is very strong. So ultimately it was revoked. But the point is to be understood. It's not the power, but it is basically the power of your language, which is very, very crucial. That is very important. Shiny, please, can you do this one little favor to me? अरे इतना पैसा नहीं लगता है. But your attitude. So the point is you are immersible with everyone, and people will say, head is now so benevolent. At least one point openly I say, it's not so easy to manage. If you naturally see the stories and the behavioral pattern of many of the directors of NITs and other places, better not to speak out. But this is very important part in my 16 years of life at LNM IIT. I told every moment, Rahul Banerjee, I still learn from you. The amount of his extraordinary power to remain cool, ठीक है ना? To be respectable, I think it is something we have to learn and to adopt. That does not mean that wrong things you accept. No. But still, you can be a very wonderful human being to deal with your peer. So, most important part, I must say, Kushum, although I am addressing because you have a very gigantic role, for which you naturally have to embrace everyone to your fold, that each and everyone must help you. So the first and fundamental, I am coming to that okay, this is understandable. Preparation, as I said in the title, preparation for NBA accreditation, following are essential. Thorough review, this is very important. Thorough review of the curriculum, faculty qualifications. Even if I say thorough review, I still say it is still important to review many of the things. I am not personally satisfied with each and everything. It is not like that I design a CIF which naturally fits me, my only understanding, as I told you earlier. It is not like that. You have to see the global compatibility, national compatibility with best institutes and best practices. That way you have to frame your syllabus. Faculty qualification, this is no problem for us. Student outcomes. Now this naturally also we have sufficient data, we have to prepare that. Preparing comprehensive self-assessment report, which is most critical element, which we are now we have already envisaged to take the needs, data collection. This is a very important task and which naturally have to be shared by every one of us. Data collection, report preparation, full accuracy and supporting evidence. That's what naturally people want, that we are asked to have that kind of a things. Infrastructure and facilities, labs, library, computing, these are all good for our institutes, but whatever the gaps are there, we have to take care of that. Technology tools for teaching and learning, student outcomes assessment. This is important, how we are going to assess the students. And you see, student outcomes assessment, instead, internal quality assurance, which is internal quality check and program evaluation. So this is also very important. Before we naturally go for submission, we naturally have to satisfy ourselves that everything. And there, for example, you should give the freedom to every faculty, come up with their opinion if there is any change or any improvement that is necessary. Preparation for then the side visit, because once they are done and accepted, then they will come, because this is the preparation for that, and that you have to do, and document competition. Now this is very important, I tell and repeat again, preparation for the side visits along with the faculty and staff training, because ऐसे नहीं है. देखो, this is a one single family. Entire family concept must be there, embedded into a mental system. whether I like you or hate or some other, ऐसे नहीं है. Anyone is your enemy. We naturally have to fully integrate ourselves in terms of thoughts, in terms of respectfulness to each and every individual. This is very crucial. Whenever this is a very important part, as I'm telling you, that it is not only individual responsibility, but the team responsibility. And we naturally have to look into that aspects so that we really be very, very successful. Now, this I do not drill on because this will be automatically decided by the expert team, which will be naturally giving lectures for 40 hours and all that. Now, this is very important. What is individual responsibility as a faculty member in the department? If we do not ourselves know about my own responsibility, what naturally I have to discharge, okay, my responsibility towards accreditation, then somewhere there is a gap. There should not be any gap. So teachers play a crucial role in maintaining and demonstrating academic quality, compliance, and continuous improvement. The major requirements are adherence to curriculum and standards. So when we take adherence to curriculum and standards, we should naturally be fully knowledgeable about the CIF, program outcome, course outcome, etc. Effective teaching practices. Now, this is very important. We cannot belittle it. We cannot neglect it for our own satisfaction. ये अच्छा नहीं है. The certain things naturally we are bound to do. We should faithfully do it. तब ना आपको standard build करेगा. So basically, which means what is your teaching plan? How do you go to assess? Activities to imbibe interest in applying skills. Imbibe interest. So the point I tell you simple from my own point of view. वो जो हम seminar topics 18 दे दिया ना, CRAN and edge computing. So the moment one is they have out of 16 days they give their choice. So when they give the choice, I first line say, I highly appreciate for the choice of this item for your seminar talk. You just consult 1, 2, 3, 4 resources, find out best 4 papers. I am also doing on your behalf another 4. And immediately after mid-semester, we'll meet together, discuss, find out 2 best papers which will follow for the seminar preparation. The once you do this, it shows your language that he sees that my teacher is very sympathetic, very helpful to me. Then he will be encouraged. है आपको शुरू दे दिया and चुपचाप रहेगा, कैसे होगा बताओ? And you have to give time immediately. We'll call them, together, go together, and not only that, final seminar तो देगा ही, but you have to give webinar talks in between, intermediately, which means progression. Where you naturally want to participate as a teacher, that continuous basis, you have to help him. This is very fundamental. You see, we may do many things, but fundamentally, we are not doing something which is most desirable. So out of these kind of things, you find out. So, Saini आता है, your good name? Sandeep. So Sandeep, basically, Sandeep is wonderful from the point of view administrative ability, wonderful. So Sandeep, you can do a lot. The only point will be there to support you. But these are the certain points, na? The framework, the platform. वो खाली बनाने, you are doing everything and we are following you regarding how to do question paper, etc. Because now you are forcing us, we are practicing, and slowly we are tuning ourselves to the requirement. Similarly, there are certain points ना जब बोला है तो वो naturally write down. Even for example, I am really do not know what do you mean by effective teaching practices. So someone who is really very good teacher, he will be able to tell us. But if it is written 4-5 lines, I will try to practice. So this is somehow way to build up. Amongst ourselves, 2, 3, 4% should be taken the responsibility to write down. Once it is write down, देखो हम बोला है एक बार. It was one point of time we are all distinguished professor and there's a Professor S.K. Gupta and Professor Sinha from IIT Kanpur, and they have a big mafia gang. If any IIT Kanpur says anything, na, other will never object. तो हम बोलते हैं ठीक है, इंस्टीट्यूट कोलेबोरेशन शेष हो गया IIT, now you're in IIT. काम बोलता है there was a great challenge in argument between me and S.K. Gupta that there is nothing written. What is your working hour? Be you a teacher, because IIT does not need it. It is so beautifully done, you don't need it. But here you cannot say this is not IIT. So you cannot be so benevolent and wide-hearted, give the total liberty. No. So you have to write, at least write what is the start day of your working place and what is the end hour. तो हम बोला है, why do keep your walls ऐसे वहां पे blank? आप जो आप नरमे इंस्टीट्यूट में आता है ना, आप लिखा दो वर्किंग आवर्स लिख दो, एंड दैट आई फाइंड आल्सो इन ब्रिटिश टेलीकॉम. आई वेंट देयर 3 times इन ब्रिटिश टेलीकॉम. इट इज क्लियरली रिटन. ठीक है ना? तो वंस यू कम एवरी डे, यू नो दिस इज माय, आई एम वायोलेटिंग द रूल. तो आपको तो कंसेशनेस कुछ है ही. I cannot think that you are without any memory, without any superior feelings. तो आप देखेगा it is written 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock and then you are coming 11. वो हमको भी प्रॉब्लम होता है that if I do violate. तो ये बात है that if something is already written, it constantly pricks your mind. I am how much I am deviated from that. So giving certain, you see, dictates, not dictates, methods, and then try everyone to cooperate, practicing that is very important. So basically what I mean, even these things, it's not very clear to everybody's mind. Why not this accreditation team find out 4 or 5 what are the best teaching practices that everyone actually will be willing to operate on that guidelines. This is all right teaching plan, assessment, activities. There are various ways individual. I see you can have an individual way, but when you belong to a system must generate. So this is a system generated modules which every teacher has to follow up. That's my point. Then documentation and evidence, keeping full record of syllabi. So these are the things as a teacher, individual responsibility में इधर हो जाएगा. Now this is very important. How do you see? Don't leave it to only individual. ठीक है, leave तो करेगा ही, but at least there must be certain guidelines, engagements and continuous improvement. How do you do continuous improvement? कैसे करेगा? One is okay, we modify the course syllabus, CIF. We can modify, that is one, but it is not a single point agenda. So then faculty development program and training, which FDP you are doing. So this is the program that you are getting, is a part of it. Fine. Teachers should facilitate industry academy exchanges. Now in this point is very important. Few are taking definite steps, not everyone. Why not? You are, because हम देखो जो networks analysis synthesis हम पढ़ाया, then I asked actually Subhas Dr. Rai. In his entire life in IIT Delhi, na, first he was the expert of network analysis synthesis, and then he switched to signal processing. I call him, and he was glad to be here. So the point is, ऐसे वहाँ पे you can locate one or good teachers in your domain, but it is not department will do, individual department will support you. But as an individual teacher, why not you expose your students? For example, I am telling you, it's not just an example for others. This wellness, 5G wellness technology, I am talking about something on edge computing, ORAN. ORAN, one of our, Anirudh is not there, one of our LLM students is now in Qualcomm and doing entirely ORAN. Then another guy who is now in Nokia. I told him, unfortunately, he said, because my wife is expecting a baby, so this next semester I will do that. But he is expert in 5G, everything. So the point is, if, for example, you do not have your own connection, why not you approach somebody who can help you to really find out a real good expert, the funny benefit of the teachers. So my viewpoint is that if you really think about your important role, some of you naturally I must say they have a very good connections and that are helping the department. Some naturally need to develop that kind of a thing, but it is always good, and that naturally will go a very big way to actually give an idea that we have been really training all our means for the benefit of the students. Involvement in department, institute, committees for NBA accreditation. So these are your individual responsibilities as a faculty. ठीक है ना? Now this is also another important point what I mean to address, how individually and as a team, as a member of the team should try to reach our desired goal for successful accreditation. The accreditation process is complex. It is highly desirable that both faculty and department team must work collaboratively with a clear sense of shared responsibility. So this is very vital at this point of time. It is not only Sandeep or Kushum Lata, no, all of us will back them. And that is very, very fundamental in this respect, that we naturally should work together with togetherness. So the point is therefore understanding the accreditation standards and criteria, which means curriculum quality, student outcomes, resource and individual effectiveness, leadership and coordination involving clear communication channels and faculty. So these communication channels, I think, Prashimlata, I think your language might be forward error correcting coded, and then somebody उसको जो decoder है ना, वो राहुल का सर डिकोडिंग ले लेगा, उसको मन में दे देगा, whatever way you speak. But it's a question of, देखो, as I said, the only way you can win somebody's heart, you are enough mature. I did not speak to, but again you have to give little value of our age experiences. What I find, where force fails, love conquers. So this is very fundamental part, I must tell everyone. Where force fails, love conquers. So it is the only single language which people understand and will yield to you. ये बात है. So now I think it's very important. Periodic meeting में ऐसे करने होगा. आपको ले लो, आपको असिस्टेंट सीनियर प्रोफेसर, इसरो कल्चर तो अच्छा ही है उन जगह से, तो वो बोल देगा how we naturally develop that that complete capability of the art and delivery of communication language, and to address more own staff, they all fall in line with me or with us. So this is fundamental. So self-study, documentation, evidence, curriculum assessment. So these are all repeatedly more or less similar kind of things, but I think team responsibility is very crucial at this point of thing. Now this is just extra side, which is scope of further strengthening the teaching learning process. So it involves improving both teaching strategies and learning experiences to create, this is very important, more engaging, effective and supportive environment. Are we all ready? Are we practicing all these kinds of things? How many of us really engage our own students? How many of us naturally go to support the students? So the supporting environment, because ultimately everything is geared to achieve only single agenda, to meet 100% the expectations of our students. And that can only be done by a little bit of our more proactive steps. We have to engage them, number one. Two, we have to support them in case of need. Now, sometimes they don't come because of certain hesitations, but you being a well-wisher, you evolve that need and get the benefit of sharing your experiences on availability to the students to meet their needs. This is very fundamental. So there are certain important points I must say. It is not simply a mechanical way that you prepare the notes and deliver. If that is, let us say, 13 or 15% or 20%, 80% naturally would determine the real success. How much, for example, you are giving time for them. Okay, and that is very important. Now, you see, this is something very interestingly put forward, and that is active learning. So this is, we have to encourage this active learning, discussion, group quiz, तो एक घटता ही है, ठीक है ना? Case studies, mini projects, seminar, these are active learning. Personalized learning allow the student his own space, capability and skill level. So when I say I'm gaya tha 18 seminar topics, but you give them freedom. You choose anyone, or you can add related to that. That's the personal freedom or personalized learning they can do. Active use of technology. Incorporate various digital tools, online quizzes, virtual labs, use of open source platforms, online resource, ठीक है ना? Then online tutorials, educational websites. For example, even if I teach, why not this would be basically when your course file में मिलता है ना, उधर में आप record करो ना, क्या क्या you have used, and then if record you give ना, an evaluator comes, अरे भाई ये तो अच्छा teacher है, he is using all these important tools. So what are these? This simply means that if you now influence the faculty that when you prepare the course file ना, ये जो भी करता है वो लिख दो, नहीं करता है आप बताओ ना किसको हमको कॉल करेगा. So the point is, there are very well virtual availability Delhi में है, people can do that. You can send batches, go there. I can fix up a people who can demonstrate everything over there. So only some kind of active participation is needed. Clear learning objectives. Now this is very important. Highlight clear goals of each unit taught. Whenever we take a subject, na, first of all, it is very important, at least for half an hour, to speak about why it is important, relevant to them. Otherwise, they lose interest. They will not come. So basically, this is very important. Highlight clear goals of each unit taught, real value applications, company brief about of the product. For example, any product you are dealing with ना, वो कौन बनाता है देश में बाहर में, वो प्रोडक्ट्स लिस्ट उसको दे दो, so that you should engage them. आप बताओ ये में क्या प्रोडक्ट अवेलेबल है, हमको नेक्स्ट दिन बोलो. So applications and future strategy, which naturally you can always get from the white paper, the company brochures. Inclusive learning to provide tutoring, mentoring, and emotional support. This is also very fundamental, whether the students will find a very important place in absence of their parents and next third personality, where they naturally will respect and want to be fully giving their support, is this one, that to provide tutoring, mentoring, and emotional support. These are very fundamental aspects in order to build up a very cordial and friendly relationships between the teacher and the taught. To create a more dynamic, ये तो ठीक है, student autonomy and ownership you have to give, ठीक है, they want to do something, support them. And to create a more dynamic, inclusive, and effective teaching learning process to provide critical thinking and lifelong learning passions. This is also very important, to create a more dynamic, inclusive, effective process. So if I say someone who is really interested to do so much of accreditation process, can you write 5 or 6, 7 lines? If Kushamananda tells me, I will write. But I think it can be, it falls definitely with one of the criteria, and those people actually can do it. Then नाम तो है इसका folding, इसका folder है, तो देख लेगा क्या होता है. And then if I fail, then I will finish का चल जाएगा, उधर से ले लेगा again. So basically, therefore, at the end of this, I think therefore we must have the final slide is this, that we pledge to promise to maintain high standards of continuous improvement. This is very important. It does not stop here or the end of accreditation. It should be continuous improvement, integrity, and excellence, and will remain aligned with industry best practices and remain committed to our set missions and values. So this is the pledge of every one of us, and that I think if we take the pledge, it is your moral responsibility. Morality should come, appear, and don't betray yourself. Then you are nowhere. The point is, therefore, I thank you everyone for your kind patience and attention. You can.
Okay, so we are open for maybe
Yes.
one or two quick questions if we have for Professor Gangopadhyay,
Yes.
in-house or as well as online also, online participants, if you have any query.
In yeah, I think in inclusiveness in my mind is there are certain in learning process there are many things. One is basically whatever I am teaching, तो आपको लेक्चर दे देता है, आपको सैम्पल क्वेश्चन भी बोल देता है, मिड सेमेस्टर इन सेमेस्टर हो जाता है. But what you are not doing, the inclusivity of the teaching process, which means that you can set up, for example, certain things you cannot teach everything, but there are certain things which naturally you can teach from other sources or related to that. So that simply include more inclusive treatment of the subject that you are teaching. That is inclusiveness. Understand that? Huh? We have to go a little deep. For example, I tell you, inclusive means what I did also here. वो हमको स्टूडेंट था एंड देयर इज अ जेनेटिक एल्गोरिथम ना, वो बनाने नहीं सकता है. But I know my student who is now associate professor and IIT partner, he did research under my guidance using a lot of genetic algorithm things in communication problems. I say, bhai, I send him, you train him and let him run, and then he come back and use us. So this is the inclusivity. What is already? So many times, for examples, you naturally did have a lot of algorithms which have not been done. But if you know somebody, take his help or some material, give to him and allow him to be more deep into your. So this is one example.
Any question from online participants?
Hmm.
To come into the classroom.
Mm.
Come to the classroom, then we can deliver the best things.
Very correct.
So from the various ailments, different type of their mentality, and the peer pressure, etc. They are not very much taking interest into the attending the regular classes. They have a lot of options like NPT. They may like to go through those kind of things the other time other than the classrooms. And sometimes the another issue I am highlighting is that the students studying in mechanical or like electronics, they may just want to go into the software field. So they make and students are clearly saying this. Some of them are clearly saying that, sir, I'm planning to go into the software field, IT, AI, and those kind of things. So that is the reason that we have taken the BTP project in the other 5 field, or we are not attending beyond a particular limit because the institute has given some limit that at least you have to attend these classes. Beyond that, they may not take the natural interest. How to increase natural interest into the domain knowledge? So the OB and all those kind of NBA because
I am incapable of giving answer to this point only because of the fact I thought at one point of time Amit Nigu in physics department, he's so friendly to students. So basically, I think he able to manage by his own matured way of dealing with the students. When one day I am coming, entering, and then I find Amit is studying with 3 students who did not appear to his class, and he is mildly scolding and telling me, Ranjan da, aise hota hai. So basic my point is, if you would have been successful 100 cases, I would refer you to consult Amit. The point is, dekho, it's a big challenge. It's not only in NMIT, it is happening in many, many institutions. It's a completely, as I said already, this age is going in a very different way. And it is very difficult, even if you ask someone that which exactly field that he will go, he does not know himself also. Question is, there should be best practices. And that we have been trying, at least one way Sandeep has been trying to inculcate into the system the 75% nahi attendance ho. It is the responsibility of the teacher, they can deter him not to appear. Now, this is not the real answer. But the point is, a class of 130 people, it's very difficult to take control of them, allow you the real ability to manage them to come to a fold. If it is 15, 20, ठीक है. हम personal level पे डकेगा, ठीक है ना, manage हो जाएगा. But for big class, I know, do not have any answer. And these things are also being perpetrated also in IIT systems as well. So it's a generation gap. And the most important part, I must say, we are definitely not extremely disciplined in any way. That is also another important part. So I think even some Vivekananda and other places, they're very strict students. So their attendance is much better than NMIT is a very relaxed institution. So I really do not know what is the answer. Sandeep naturally can help me. You are the Dean of Student Affairs.
Okay.
When such student or parents come, I tell them that NMIT, NITs, one person who is teach you is the same person who will set the question, is the same person who will check it. So those 40 hours spent with him to know his personality and find out what kind of questions he can ask. That is why you should attend. This is one answer which I give to the students that get to know about the personality of.
Actually, the point is, na, what is said. Even if I do justice, it's very difficult. What I mean to say, we take a lot of pains to nearly formalize our system of standardizations in higher education, teaching, learning process, to do everything. But otherwise, the picture is where if they do not come, and if I now have the ability and the freedom to naturally prepare questions, I think 80% will fail. Because they do not attain and they are not genius. So they will fail. So it will be boomerang on the part of the teachers. If it is not either, but उधर में private institution हो जाएगा, वो ढकेगा. Chairperson will call you back. वही people fail. आप तो आपको देखने होगा, उसको सबको ये देने पड़ेगा. Private institution में ऐसे चलेगा. So the question now, it's a duality of the thing. One way you are being very strict in formalizing everything for the best teaching, learning practices. In another way, not getting the support from the students. And I do not believe that all of us are bogus teachers. Okay? There are definitely very good teachers are there. I can count them. So what happens to them? So basically you take a means, at least वो जे even teacher को जो attendances लेता है, if it is not micromanaged by anyone, then that naturally provides a certain clue that where the attendance is very high, then we naturally need to know the goodness of the teacher for which students are attracted to his class. So I think certain feedbacks, which we call the side feedbacks, must be available to us to naturally devise a new modality, how to conduct the students' class so that they naturally are attractive, or somehow or other, certain part of it, आप IT रख दो, so that they still get interested. My point is that जो भी करो, उसमें थोड़ा से आपको MI, मशीन लर्निंग, DL ऐसे लगाने होगा. That is the thing. वो नहीं होगा तो I am not interested in subject. तो can you for communication तो होता है, mechanical में होगा. Definitely now this is everywhere. So I think it is very important for the teacher to frame the CIF in such a fashion that the new technology which is coming up must be impregnated into your CIF design. This is one way of meeting their things. The another point which we do not, Nikhil में हम बोला था, and we do not practice within a semester, we naturally must have at least 2 encounters from the department and our students. 4th year, 3rd year, whatever, we should have an interaction. And there we have a face-to-face. You have not been able to make them your friends. If you are really a friend, then a friend जो बोलेगा वो सुनता है. But when you tell, so they would not identify you as their friend. If you make yourself as friend, a real well-wisher, so whatever you tell them, they will listen to you. So there are certain gaps, either in terms of our incapability, or in terms of our approach, methodology, or in terms of the content of this. We have to look into in a very holistic fashion what will be the best guide to do that. But this is a great challenge. I do not know. Today in the evening, I will put chat GPT, what chat GPT answer. ये हम problem face करता है, आप बताओ क्या करने होगा. They will give you, definitely. They will definitely give you. And then we try to. देखो, there are two things. First is basically, yes, for job के लिए you need a separate preparation. That you do. ठीक है, there is not an issue. But you are not sure. Today you are making mechanical engineering. My son actually did geophysics, and now he was the most senior, most scientist in NASA dealing with basically high performance computing. So the question is, you are not sure. You cannot totally define your total life trajectory where you will do, except if you are not in a teaching profession. So you naturally have a different trajectory depending on advantages, depending of many factors. But the important point, they have to be told, na, the basic understanding, foundational things for your subject. ये तो सीख नहीं हुआ. But that has to be taught in such a fashion that it is not a burden. And you see, the point is, if Dalai Lama speaks, तो हम तो सुनेगा ही. But if you speak, I will take few days and then decide whether I will hear you or not. So they want to find out certain clues, certain points of perfection, what they demand and they find in the teacher. The question is, therefore, we never talk with our students, what do you like me to address? Never you ask, why not? So this is also a part of inclusivity. You see, you naturally have to go beyond your normal strategy of picking up a subject and then teaching either this way or backboard, whatever it is. But you naturally need to bother about asking what you want within this is the subject CIF you have got. You just tell me what you learn in this. If they say we don't want to learn, then finish. Then there is nothing to do. But if you do this kind of an approach, I think things naturally can be improved upon. My feeling is there is absolutely no point that you naturally get dejected. It is a challenge, you have to face it. How to meet the channel, it is our experience, our way of thought, our feedback from most important gurus of other places, and then you find out a means of your strategy which you actually have to adopt. ठीक है ना? So I think Sandeep can also, for example, can prepare 1 or 2 sessions where teachers and faculty naturally can come and discuss this event. How do we go about it? I mean, it is a complete thing. It's not our institute, the students' institute, and we should participate full-fledgedly in a combined and cooperative fashion. तब ना success आएगा. So I think it is good to get somebody, and then if you have for any session 4-5 people as their mentors together, it is give them the responsibility. भाई आप ऐसे करो. Don't make us feel that we are nowhere. We are for you. Why not utilize? But we can mold ourselves in terms of content, delivery, everything, whatever you like. But tell me, fact. What is that bother you not to come? In fact, when I go for accreditation to Thacker, मुझे पंजाब में Thapar Institute, उधर में गया था accreditation. The students say to me personally as an evaluator, why we need to attend the class? They ask me. Because during that time, if we naturally study our own, we are benefited rather than going over there. Now, better depth में हम पूछना नहीं है, but principal का हम बोला है that this is the students' feedback. They say there is no utility of attending someone's class. What does it mean? You have to tell me. The point is this. So if you, for example, teach something, वो आपको दे दिया, you are not saying what you are teaching, what is its implications, what they are relevant in the practical field. ठीक है ना, कुछ नहीं आप बोलता है, आप ले लिया, स्लाइड लगा दो, एक एक करके करेगा. What interest they will have? So this is important that ऐसे मापी नहीं चलेगा. You cannot take that freedom just getting a notes unless you are able each slide में आप 15 minutes दो, no problem. But simply slide project करता है, you are not sufficiently explaining to them why they go to Indian sir. Even I am a student over there, I will not like it. The point is very important. It's a challenge for each and every one of us, and we have to see therefore how we can match the demands and expectations of students. And I naturally must say we must have some kind of this interaction with the students to know from them what they want, which way they want. Unless these thoughts are not made clear to every one of us, we cannot strategize our approach to delivery system, teaching delivery system.
Okay, so I think we won't be able to take any more questions due to the interest of time. We would like to thank Professor Gangopadhyay as the program coordinator of this program. I request Professor Ravi to please give
What's your good name?
small
Achha, you are देखा
token
है,
of
very good, nice to meet you भाई.
as a speaker for this
अरे खड़ग में था, लिया था ना. अच्छा, क्या एरिया?
पाठक सर 2010
पाठक का साथ किया. What is your communication ही था. Very good, wonderful.
Thank you, Professor Gangopadhyay. Thank you so
Thank you so much भाई.
Sir, people are interested in taking your photograph. So if you could spare one.